Welcome back to episode 9. In the last episode, we set up a distributed batching algorithm, which is running perfectly. It's been going for about 12 hours now. Hasn't fallen out of sync at all. We've upgraded our RAM. We're at half a terabyte now. And we've got quite a bit of money, so pretty soon we're going to re-augment. Probably would have done it already, but I wanted to make this video before I did because I need the advanced level to really display what the point of this video is. And this video's point will be generating a script that is a control script. So what I mean by that is we have 3 different strategies already in place. We've got the batching algorithm, we've got max cache, and then we've got our generic go, which is just a round robin style hack week grow. But how do we pick which one to use? Right now we've got to kill the script and then spawn a new script, and it's just kind of messy. Also, you've got problems like our batching script doesn't have anywhere in it that we're actually getting root access to servers. That only happens in Go. So like I woke up this morning after letting it run all night and I'm like, oh, I don't even have root access on CSEC. Even though I've got all my ports open or I've got all the software and everything, I'm not actually rooting CSEC because there's nothing doing a sudo operation in there. And while we could add that to the hack week grow week script, it's going to increase the RAM requirements. And I would have to add it to all of these scripts, to max cache, to go, and it's going to increase the RAM requirement across all of them. Instead of doing that, I'm going to write a control script so that I can just send in a simple command and swap what strategy I'm using. And this will come in handy later when we build logic around when to use certain strategies, because we'll just send in the same command via the software logic rather than me typing it in. So let's get started. I'm going to use a port for this. Ports are fairly easy to use. They serve as global data stores. So I can write something to a port and later I can peek that value from the port and use it as many times as I want in as many scripts as I want. And there are multiple ways that we can do this. You can write it to a file, you can write it to a port, you can write it to a database. I'm just going to use ports. I don't think there's any difference between those 3 strategies. So yeah, let's get started. First, I need to write the script that allows me to write something to a port. I'm going to call this control.js. And I'm going to pass in an argument that's going to be the name of the script or an identifier for the script that I want to run. And all I'm going to do is await NS write. And we're going to do this on port 1. That'll be our control port. And I'm going to write the value of script. Done. Oh, actually, let's write port. The other thing that we got to consider is that ports are a FIFO stack. So, well, I'm not going to go into the complexities of explaining what that means. What we need to do is ns.clear port before we write the port. That way, when we write the port, we'll know the only thing in the port is the most recent command we've decided to issue. That way, we don't have to worry about like later peeking the port and having it have old data or whatever. Just our most recent command is what's on that port. Then I need to create a script that I'm going to call. Actually, I'm probably just going to copy go. And repurpose the go script. Because I like go, it's as a name, it's a lot more generic than what the current go script actually does, which is a round robin hacking implementation. So this will be our new like universal script. And I'm going to grab few bits of code from it, from the original. I'm going to grab these two imports. I'm going to grab DP list. And in fact, I'm probably not even going to paste DP list in here. I'm going to make a utils file. I'm going to export DP list. So now I can just import DP list from libutils and use it exactly as I would have. Delete that. That's all we got to change there. All right, now what do we want this script to do? Well, first we wanted to build a list of servers. So we'll do that same way we've done it every other time. Then we're going to push to servers, a new hackable base server with the parameters ns and the host name of the server. Done. That gets us a list of server objects that we can use. And I'm also going to let player equal new base player with an identifier of player. And that seems a little redundant, but it allows for expansion later if, say, we were to have two players. Not to spoil anything else. Okay. From here, I don't know if I explained, this script is going to run kind of all the time. And since control is passing basically a value, this is going to be the script that reads the value. So it's going to have to loop forever. And during that loop, we're going to want to do a few things. We don't have admin, but we could have admin, which means we have more ports than the server requires. And is it? I don't have my ints working, so I'm actually going to check to make sure it's just server.ports. Ports.required, okay. So if we're not admin and the server's required ports is less than or equal to the ports that we can open, we are going to run the sudo command on the server, which we have defined. Not in that one. In this script, which extends base server, hackable base server, sudo, it tries all this stuff. All right, simple enough. So that'll get us root access. And then after we have root access, we're going to await an SCP of all of our files. We're going to send those from home to server ID, which is the host name of the server. Then we'll go in and try to read this variable. So ns read port 1. And then we're going to switch the command. In the case, actually, we'll just do the default first. If there's nothing that has ever been sent to the port this is what's going to happen. And the default is going to be to run round robin. With one port. Actually, we don't even have to put that in, or one thread. All we really need is round robin and home. But that's not enough because we need to check and make sure that none of our other scripts are running. And the way we're going to do that is with our PIDs command. So just minimize this so it's easier to scroll through it. In the last video, and I'm not sure if I showed this on stream, I think I did, I copied over this PIDs command. It returns this.ns.ps, this ID, which is the list of processes running on the server. So I can come over here and I can say let home equals, and there's two ways we could do this. We could do servers.filter s. Oops. We do that, which will return the server out of servers list that is called home. Or we just let home equal new hackable base server. This creates a duplicate. So home is already in the servers list, and this will mean we're essentially operating with a second version of home, which is a little bit less ideal than the other way. You could run into some duplication issues if you were to use this in a weird way. I've never run into them, but just for consistently, the more JavaScript sound version is the one we had before. Servers filter, check for home, which filter always returns an array, and there's ideally only going to be one entry in this array, which is going to be home, because S is home, returns home. But we still need the 0th index of that array so that we can operate on the server as if it was just an object. Let home PIDs equal home.PIDs. So home PIDs is now a list of all the processes. That's an array of type process info, and process info has, and I'm just doing this from memory, but I think it's got file name, PID. I think it's got threads as well. What a question. We could print that out, but we don't need to because I know it's got file name and PID, which is all we need right now. And then we're going to go for that process of home PIDs. If process.filename equals so basically if round robin is running, this code right here would run, but I kind of want to do it slightly differently. I want to say if process would do let hacking scripts equal, I'm going to set an array round robin HWGW and max cache. And then I can do if process.filename is included in hacking scripts. So if hacking scripts includes process.filename, then that means one of our existing hack logic scripts is running. So this doesn't care which one is running, just one of them is running. And the point of this logic is we don't want to execute round robin twice. If round robin is running, we still want to run round robin, we'll just not do anything. So maybe the way to do this is to drop this into the switch block. and then default we want to structure this so we don't have to copy and paste a bunch of stuff. Well, the easiest way, the first thing that comes to mind, which is not the most efficient, is to say if hacking scripts does not include any of these, we're going to exec round robin. And if it does, we'll have to do if it includes just round robin. Well, actually, no. We got to do this with a map. This is what I was afraid of. Homepids dot map b dot file name so what map does is it performs an operation on every item of the homepids array and returns the value. So essentially we're saying for every object in the homepids array, return an array that consists of just the file names. The homepids has all this information in it, and what this entire statement will do is return an array that looks like that, and then we probably have some bin wheat, probably have a bin grow. They have a bunch of these, like could be even that. So it'd be something like that, right? We're knowing that homepids will have some similar form as this. So if the homepids map includes round robin, then we know round robin is already running. And we can do nothing because it's already running and we want round robin. Slightly more efficiently would be if it doesn't include it, then we need to skill something. And the reason for this structure is we know that hacking scripts, one of our file names matches one of these, but we don't know which one matches it yet. I'm gonna have to refactor this. I'm just gonna do it the brute force way to start with, and then we'll come back and do this in a more efficient way. Sometimes it's better just to get your thoughts down in code rather than trying to make it super optimal at first. And the easiest way to do this is homepids filter p.filename equals or p.filename equals xcache. That gives us the list of PIDs that only match those file names. We do a for each and skill p. p.pid. That should do it. If we get the command, if we get no command sent in, which is the default, it will exec round robin if no file is running, and if a file is running that is not round robin, it will kill that file, and then on the next iteration through, exec round robin. All right. And we would do the same thing for case max cache. Case HWGW. And we'll probably even throw in a case for round robin. And we'd copy all this stuff and just change the file names. That's the easy way. You know, if you're trying to code along with me and you don't want to get into complicated sorting and filtering, just copy and paste this 4 times. But one of the principles of programming is don't repeat yourself. Don't copy and paste giant chunks of code if you can avoid it. And we definitely can't avoid it this way just by a simple refactor. So we also haven't, excuse me, we also haven't figured out what command is. Oh, actually we have, let command equals NS read port 1. Okay, so the way I would refactor this personally is I would say, I would define a function. And I'm going to call it exec hacking script. We're going to pass into it ns and desired script. And I'll go in and pass. Well, I was going to say I'd pass home in, but I don't need to do that. So we're going to let home. That won't work because we don't have the servers array. So remember how I said earlier there are 2 ways to do it? This is the perfect time to be like, let's do it the other way. Now we've got home and we don't need to filter anything. We just have it. That's home. They'll do that. They'll do let command equals NS read port 1. Still going to switch command. Still going to have these cases. But now we're going to say, what are we going to say? We got file name is included in hacking scripts. And we'll grab our list of hacking scripts. In fact, there's a slightly better way to do this. And it's going to require an even bigger refactor, but I'm going to go on and do it this way. All right. So HWGW, I'm going to basically move all of these files. Instead of just having the names like HWGW, I'm going to give them a prefix. We'll call them sbin.hack. Oh, I got to kill it first. I'm going to move round robin. I'm going to move max cache. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because now I don't have to specifically define my hacking scripts. So if I create a 4th one, I won't have to remember to come up here and type it in. I can just say let hacking scripts equal homepids.filter p.filename.starts with sbin.hack. And now this hacking scripts will be an array of just the PIDs that start with that prefix, which is beautiful because then I can compare the value of hacking scripts to the command we want to run later. Don't need that anymore. And so desired script is going to be a what? String. So desired script, let's just pseudocode this out. Yeah, that looks good. We don't actually need to pass in desired script, do we? We're just going to do this all down here. Since we're grabbing the read port, actually we don't want to read port. We want to peek the port. So I'll take out the desired script entirely, not going to need that. We'll just peek it, and if the value is max cache, we'll say if hacking scripts, then this is probably the easiest way to do it. Not file name. So if it's not spin.hack.maxcache.js, we'll kill it. And the length should ever only be 1. So we'll throw if that's not the case. And we've actually got to declare that outside of this block so that it'll be scoped to this more general block. Beautiful. Already much shorter. Now we can make this even shorter and not do this switch with one simple change to what we've done so far. Right now we're assuming we're sending a command like max cache hwgw round robin into that port. But why don't we just send the file name into that port? Like it's just a change in what we're doing, what we're typing. It'd be a little bit more work to type. For example, we'll have to run control with the argument of spin.hack.hwgw.js instead of just saying hwgw. But it means we'll be able to shorten all this code. We won't need the switch at all. We can just do if hacking script file name is not equal to command. If it's not equal to command, kill it and execute whatever command we send in. And just like that, we've eliminated 20 lines of code. And since initially we're going to be managing control.js by hand, it's a little bit of extra typing, but you know, within a couple of episodes, we're probably going to be managing it mostly programmatically anyway with logic. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Now I don't need any of this at all. And I can just call exec hacking script. I can call that wherever I want. So I can call it after the sudo, before the sudo. Probably don't want to call it inside the for loop because then it'll execute 70 times per 10 milliseconds. And then there's another question. If we change hacking scripts, do we want to kill all of the binaries running? So bin weak, bin hack, bin grow. And that I think we probably do. So I may, yeah, I'll just send servers. Let's pass it as a variable. So if we've changed hacking scripts, and write it like this just so it's a little bit clearer. We're going to go for servers. Ooh, this can be complicated. Servers.map. Servers.pids. And I think I have to flatten that. So it's not a two-dimensional array. And that'll give us a list of all the server PIDs, which we will then filter for PID file name starts with a binary, so like a hack binary. And then for anything that does match that, we'll kill it as well. We don't need to assign that. I think this will work. I'm just going to try it. So for each server, we're going to grab the PIDs, and we're going to flatten that, which makes, essentially, this is going to return a two-dimensional array. We don't need that. We just need a one-dimensional array. We flatten it, filter it. This really should be proc. It's a process info type. Process file name starts with a binary. And for each of those, we're going to kill the PID of that process. Let's give it a shot. Two hacking scripts are running. Really? Oh. No hacking scripts are running. That definitely should not be throwing. Oh, I'm okay. So instead, if length is greater than 1, we're going to throw. Else, we're going to try to assign hacking script. And if we have assigned hacking script, we can do it like this. And if we haven't assigned hacking script because it's not running, we can just exec. And be even slightly better to do it like this. So if hacking script has been assigned, we will, oh, actually, no, we can't do it like this. Because otherwise we'd be executing it every time through. So we do have to structure it in that format. Could not find script null port data on home. Null port data being the default if nothing has been sent to control. So let's go on and handle that. So if it's null port data, we're just going to assign it round robin. All right, and round robin is running. Now let's see if we can change that. Run control. Well, it almost worked. Ah. All right, so it's running HWGW because we sent in that command. Now if I change that to round robin, it killed all the binaries and ran the round robin script. And if I change it back, there we go. Killed all the binaries and ran HWGW. Beautiful. I'm actually going to move control. Just to keep things organized, it is a system binary. I'm going to alias plus switch. Now I can switch. Beautiful. All right, now we can change on the fly our hacking script. What else do we want to do in our main loop? Well, we're pushing 40 minutes on the video, so I'm going to say for now nothing. Eventually we'll want to add like money decisions and things to this main loop. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to go check every server, try to sudo and copy. There's one more thing I might do, which is before that loop starts. Let's just send the files over then as well. So just to make sure that we have the files on every server we want to utilize, we'll do that first step, even if we don't have root to the server, because we can send files even if there's no root. And we'll just make sure we didn't destroy anything with that. What I really like is that because we're using a port, if we kill go and restart it, it doesn't restart the default hacking script of round robin because there's already data on that port that says use HWGW. So it'll restart exactly where we want it to restart. Looks like everything's working great. I will get the source up on the GitHub. Thanks for watching, and tune in on the next episode where we'll discuss Um, don't quite want to get to stock market yet, but I think I'll go into purchase servers. That'll be next up. See you soon.